How's it going, everyone? Today we're flying to Taiwan for the first time. We're flying China Airlines, Taiwan's national flag carrier. We've got a long 12-hour flight ahead of us, but so far, not bad.
To have your valuables with you.
They even gave us slippers, which honestly, that's peak economy luxury. And for someone almost 2 meters tall, I can confirm the legroom is surprisingly decent.
The food was honestly really good too. And what surprised us the most was how the flight attendants kept coming back with drinks and snacks the entire time. Like they did not let us suffer during this 12-hour flight.
Alright, we've landed in Taipei. And to be honest, before this trip, Taiwan for us was basically Taipei 101 and boba tea. But we wanted to see more than that. We heard Tainan used to be the capital before, and that it's basically Taiwan's food capital. So naturally, that became our first stop for this 2-week adventure.
There are a few ways to get to Tainan from the airport, but we went for the high-speed rail. The only catch is these stations are usually pretty far from the city center, so first we had to take the commuter train from the airport to Taiwan, which is basically the closest city nearby. We also brought this little stamp passport from Kuala Lumpur, and spoiler alert, you're gonna be seeing it a few more times throughout this trip. One thing to note, you need to grab your paper tickets in advance from the station, so make sure to arrive at least 15 minutes before your train departs. We paid 1,200 Taiwanese dollars per person, which is around 32 euros. A bit more expensive than regular tickets, but it's also much faster. And we were quite tired from the journey here, so we decided to go with this.
We were starving after the trip, so we grabbed some snacks from 7-Eleven. And yeah, we love Asian convenience stores. It's something we really wish we had back home in the Netherlands. The hot dog was surprisingly good, and this mochi donut. Absolute dream. Whenever we see these things, we always have to grab one. At the Taoyuan HSR station, everything's super organized. You know exactly which car and seat to go to, and there are clear lines showing where to board. That was pretty cool. First impressions of the high-speed train? Amazing. Honestly, us Europeans could take some notes here. The legroom is fantastic, and the ride is really smooth. We even hit speeds of around 300 km per hour.
We've arrived in Tainan and checked into the Lakeshore Hotel. It was just before Lunar New Year and the decorations were really festive. Really loved the vibes here. Oh, and one thing we immediately noticed. You can get hot and cold water in the hallway here. Very convenient. The room itself, spacious, comfy, and the toilet had a warm seat. We can never complain about that. Alright, time to explore Taiwan's old capital, Tainan.
But first, we're very hungry. Andrea has a colleague from Tainan who shared a list of must-try spots, so thanks Charlie. Our first stop? Rice noodle soup with squid, a popular local spot. The soup was slightly sweet, really comforting, and felt surprisingly homey. All that for 150 Taiwanese dollars, about 4 euros. We can totally recommend it. Next up, Snail Alley, a tiny little street but packed with character. Cool shops, cozy cafes, and, well, yeah, plenty of snails everywhere. It's worth a quick stroll. Trying boba tea for the first time in Taiwan. And honestly, there's like a tea shop every 10 meters here. It's kind of hilarious. I went for the 50% sugar version. It was a bit sweet. Next time I'd probably go for 30%. But even like this, it was great. Next, we wandered through Shennong Street. And this place is such a vibe. It's packed with cool little shops, each one more charming than the last. And we stopped by a few that really caught our eye. It's that type of street that changes completely at night. The lights come on, lanterns glow, and it suddenly feels like the whole place is alive in a totally different way. If you're in Tainan, definitely save some time to stroll through here after dark. It's got just the perfect atmosphere. Later that day, we stopped for some beef soup, Taiwan's national dish. We'd heard that the Tainan version is a bit different. They use fresh beef instead of a slow-cooked style. It was really hearty, and the meat went surprisingly well with the barbecue sauce they provided. Definitely hit the spot.
Of the night, we hit a fried chicken spot we'd spotted earlier. Figured we deserved something unhealthy after 2 soups in one day. Haha. The regular chicken was really good, but our favorite, guess what? The chicken cutlet with plum powder. It was something I've never tasted before, and my husband as well, so we were really happy to taste something like this. I really encourage you to try it if you go there. Turns out, plum powder is a staple in a lot of Taiwanese dishes. We liked it so much we even bought some to take home.
It's the next day and we've got a full schedule ahead, so let's see what's planned. By the way, if you need to exchange money in Taiwan, we definitely recommend doing it at the Bank of Taiwan. There are plenty of branches. We went to their main one in Tainan, which was pretty busy, but the smaller ones are generally faster. Why here? They offer good rates with no extra fees, so it's a safe and convenient choice. We're now wandering down Fuzhong Street, which has a pretty cozy and relaxed vibe. That's kind of the thing about Tainan. It's not as flashy as Taipei, but that's exactly what makes it special. The streets, the food, the history. It all feels really authentic. This city used to be the capital of Taiwan, so every corner has a story, and the local culture is really alive. If you're planning a longer trip to Taiwan, you'd definitely want to add Tainan to your list. It's a mix of history, amazing food, and charm that you just can't get anywhere else. Plus, wandering streets like Fuzhong, it's easy to slow down and soak it all in. Now we're at the Confucius Temple, and the colors here just pop. The reds, the golds, they make everything feel so vibrant. This temple is a reminder of how Confucianism shaped Taiwan. Confucian values came over centuries, influencing education, government, and daily life. Temples like this were originally built as schools and places to honor scholars. So it's a mix of spirituality and learning all in one. It also really reminds us of the Temple of Literature in Hanoi. Same sense of calm, history, and that feeling that you're walking through centuries of culture while still being right in the middle of the city. Now we're at Hayashi Department Store. Did you know that Taiwan was actually part of the Japanese Empire for about 50 years, from 1895 to 1945? This building is a reminder of that era. The architecture, the layout, even the vibe. It all takes you back to those times when the Japanese influence shaped commerce and daily life here. Inside, you can definitely find some really cool souvenirs. But a little tip, if you're hunting for bargains, there are better prices elsewhere in the city. Still, it's worth a visit just to soak in the history and see a piece of Tainan's past preserved so well.
Since it was pretty warm out, we decided to try tofu pudding, a classic in Taiwanese cuisine. Ours came with tapioca, jelly, and a few other toppings, and we loved it. So refreshing, a little chewy, perfect for a sunny day. Speaking of the weather, a funny thing we noticed. It was about 25 degrees and sunny, but locals were walking around in puffer jackets, since this is winter weather for them. Meanwhile, we are rocking light summer clothes and definitely standing out, but hey, this is peak summer weather for us.
Tired.
Now we are at the Grand Mazu Temple, one of Tainan's most important spiritual spots. Dedicated to Mazu, the sea goddess, locals come here to pray for safety and good fortune. And the intricate carvings and vibrant colors make it just as impressive to admire as it is meaningful to visit.
We've heard that Tainan is basically made of temples, so apparently you can do temple hopping. Is this a new cafe hopping? Let's see how many we can spot. Any guesses on our temple count so far?
Next, we made our way to Chihkan Tower. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing this correctly. It's one of Tainan's most iconic landmarks. Entry is really affordable, but quick tip, you can get cheaper tickets on Klook. We snagged ours for less than €2, which is pretty great. The tower itself is stunning, a mix of red brick and traditional architecture with a history that goes way back. Fun fact, this used to be a Dutch fort during the Formosa period in the 1600s. Walking around, you can really feel the layers of history.
We're on our way to the night market, and let me tell you, Taiwanese taxis are something else. We've made it to Dadong Night Market. Night markets are a huge part of life in Taiwan. It's where people come to eat, hang out, and just spend the evening together. It's not just a night market, it's basically the local nightlife.
Okay. 谢谢. Alright, let's see what we ate. First up, pork dumplings.
Nice. How do I eat this? We'd heard oyster pancakes are a big thing in Taiwan, so of course we had to try one. It tasted very oceany, but the texture was actually really nice. Not sure what the red sauce on top was, though. I feel like I would have liked it even more without it.
Good?
Good? You can eat this as well.
It's amazing. Para Africa. Now, I know these aren't exactly Taiwanese, but they looked way too good to ignore. And honestly, they were amazing, and not overly sweet either, which is always a win.
What do we have here? Oh, there's two types.
Wow.
There's banana inside. Oh, there. Trying quail eggs for the first time, and I think the lady added white pepper on top, which made them taste so good. And we quickly learned that white pepper is basically a Taiwanese essential. They put it on everything.
Tainan is also known for its seafood, so of course we had to try some fried squid. And yes, with white pepper, of course. I think this was the highlight of my trip.
Thank you. Bye bye. Wow, it's nice. Fresh squid. Nice. Good? Yeah, this beef was perfectly cooked. Wow.
Bravo.
Wait.
Hey.
We really loved breakfast at our hotel, and the beef soup here was honestly one of the highlights. Like we mentioned earlier, beef soup in Tainan is a bit different from the Taipei version. You get the hot bone broth and you pour it over thin slices of fresh beef, basically cooking it right there. It actually reminded us a bit of the Vietnamese pho. Personally, I prefer the Tainan version, while Andrea likes the Taipei one. That episode is coming soon, so stay tuned.
Very refreshing. A bit hot. Wow. We found this cute little spot called Haji Coffee, tucked down in Snail Alley, close to our hotel. And if you know football, the name Haji might ring a bell. Yep, same as the Romanian player. Great coffee too, by the way.
Now we're exploring Anping Old District, starting with Anping Fort, one of the oldest Dutch forts in Taiwan. Back in the 1600s, the Dutch East India Company set up shop here during their brief rule of Taiwan, calling it Fort Zeelandia. The fort was a key trading post, and you can still see parts of the old walls and cannons that hint at its past. The district around it is just as fascinating. Narrow streets, traditional houses, small shops, and local snacks everywhere. Walking here, you really get a sense of Taiwan's layered history, Dutch influence, Chinese migration, and now modern Taiwanese life. If you love history with a side of food and culture, Anping Old District is definitely a spot you don't want to miss.
And of course, don't forget to get your stamps in while you are here.
他们说他们来安平认识自然球赛的。
你又忘记他以前叫那个。
我知道。
Next, we headed to the former Tait & Co. Merchant House, a historic trading building from the Dutch and Qing eras, showing how commerce shaped Tainan back in the day. But the highlight isn't the old headquarters itself, it's the warehouse behind, which has so much more character tucked away. Behind the merchant house is the Anping Tree House, and it's incredible. The old warehouse has been almost completely overtaken by trees and roots. Like nature decided to reclaim it for itself. You see roots wrapping around the walls, creeping over floors, and twisting through windows. It's part jungle, part history museum, and totally surreal. It really does make for some amazing photos too.
tip, if you want to save a bit, you can grab cheaper tickets on Klook for both Anping Fort and the Anping Treehouse. Definitely worth it. Tá, então não focuseado.
Da fora de mica não, tipo.
Nice.
Não touching. Look at this. Now we're strolling down Anping Old Street, and I wanted to take a moment to reflect on a few things we've noticed so far. Little tips and observations that might make your trip smoother. First, voltage here is 110 volts. We brought an iron from home without realizing this, and yep, it didn't work. Rookie move. One thing we love, people really know how to queue. Just like at the HSR station, you'll see lines everywhere. Sometimes invisible, sometimes clearly marked. And it's super orderly. Another handy tip, not a lot of people speak English, but almost everyone has Google Translate, or similar, even the elderly. You'll manage just fine, though it's just still nice to know a few words here and there. Toilets are everywhere, and the best part, they're free, so exploring all day is a lot less stressful. Also, all the hotels we've stayed at here have water dispensers, which means you don't need to buy bottled water constantly. Oh, and don't forget your stamp passport. Nearly every attraction has a stamp, and collecting them is part of the fun. And one last thing that's pretty important, cash here is king. In Taipei, we got by with cards, but in Tainan, it was a bit trickier, so make sure to take out some cash before coming. Those are some little details that really make Tainan feel easy and welcoming, and they add to the charm of exploring this historic city.
What better way to end the trip than with some hot pot? We went to a popular spot in town and had to wait about 20 minutes to get in. Definitely a good sign for food lovers. Inside, there are tons of options to choose from, and everything was really good. The staff were super friendly too, doing their best to help us with Google Translate whenever needed. One thing we noticed, and it's something we've seen in lots of local spots in Taiwan, you can grab your own drinks from the fridge, and there are beer openers at the table. It's little touches like that that make dining here so convenient and enjoyable.
And that's it everyone, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned because we've got a few more Taiwan videos coming your way. Until next time!